Okay, I'm here with Ambassador Bolton. It's a real honor to be speaking with you. I run Rage Against the Media, and I'm curious as to your take on the role that the media has played in the chaos that's been going on in the Middle East and elsewhere.
Well, I think the media have covered for President Obama for 6 years on the whole range of his policies, and today I think they really underestimate the continuing threat of Islamic terrorism. The President says the media overhype it. I think, if anything, they're giving it inadequate attention. They have certainly not tried to penetrate the mistakes that are being made in the negotiations with Iran over its nuclear weapons program. I think the media in this country, by and large, buy the argument that Israel is part of the problem, and that if you could only have a solution between Israel and the Palestinians, that sweetness and light would break out in the Middle East. This is clearly not true. So I think it's a reflection of the media's overall ideological bias, which is essentially the same as the president's. No surprise, I think, for that reason.
And do you think if they were to start reporting more honestly and objectively, that might play a role, in fact, in peace in the Middle East?
Well,
or is that an overstatement?
I think when the media's had no choice but to report objectively, when Americans were beheaded by ISIS, when the 21 Coptic Christians were beheaded by ISIS in Libya, when the Jordanian pilot was burned alive, and when Christians have been kidnapped and sold into slavery, those facts come through. I really think the American people are out ahead of their leadership in Washington. They're out ahead of the media. They understand that these are grave threats for our country, and I think they're waiting for political leadership.
Do you think there's anything we as individuals can do to help them be more responsible, or to bring more of the truth?
Well, I think with respect to the media, I think the mainstream media are essentially hopeless. But I think with respect to the politicians, in a presidential election cycle, the voters can insist that the would-be nominees address their issues. So if the threat of international terrorism, nuclear proliferation, these kinds of issues are on people's minds, they need to speak up. They need to pepper the candidates with questions. They need to impress on the political operatives that this is a prime issue. The conventional wisdom is nobody cares about foreign policy. I think that's flatly wrong. But the people have to speak up.
And if we do, we can affect change.
I think that's fundamental. If that's not true, we're in deep trouble.
So are you optimistic?
Well, I'm optimistic because I think people are beginning to see after 6 years that these policies of drift and defeatism and looking inward are having a severely negative effect on the country. And I think they want a president who understands that his principal responsibility is to protect the American people.
Thank you very much.
Well, thank you. Glad to do it.